I'm KK to make things easy for you. I lead the mobile apps monetization piece in APAC. What I'm here for is primarily to give you an introduction on how you can amass users for the games that you build. Now, it's no different for games versus normal applications that clients build. So what I'm going to take you through is a little bit about what Google can do for you. And like all other Google products, it's easy to use, easy to scale, and the back-end business is taken care of by Google and the likes of Karthikeyan here. Right. I want to step back and look at this picture. I like this picture. I have a similar one for a rock show. 2005, 2013, in 7-8 years, even the Vatican has changed, and you know that phones have proliferated everywhere in our lives. I'm sure you guys are building applications on phones for various platforms. So what we want to do is first understand that this whole ecosystem has changed so much that we need to work our strategy around this. And I want to further drill down, and this is a story of Vatican. I want to look at how it is globally and how it is today. 42% of all users on cell phones are here in APAC. And you know why I'm so passionate about APAC, right? Because if I'm here, I handle this market, and 42% of all global mobile phone users are here. And what happens in a few more years, not too many, 2 years, 42% becomes 54% in APAC, which is great news, right? You guys are here, you guys are building for people out here. The people who are using these kind of services is exploding, and therefore you're in a great place today, and how you can leverage that is a story that's coming forth. APAC's a big market, so which markets in APAC are growing? So there's 380%, 262%, 450%, 300% growth rates in different parts of APAC itself, which means that you need to build games, and I'm sure you have these thoughts in your head while building them, that you can actually leverage a lot more of these users here in this region. This was what advertising was a few years back. 2009, right? Very naive, very straightforward, extremely useful. It used to work well. I don't want to diss that. I mean, 5 years back, we who used to do this kind of advertising. So I wanted to see how we can take learnings from the last few years and how we can build on that to make a successful marketing campaign to amass users. Casual games, we had networks, we had CPC, CPI, incentivized, etc. We learned a few things. We said impact at launch is very important. We said that if you're slipping down ratings, try and increase your impact so that you can go back up. Make sure your changes, your price points, etc., very, very clear. And then we monitor conversion rates and optimization, etc. So these are some learnings we had 5 years back. And they're no different today, except that we have more learnings. In 2011, we said that messaging, social networking, etc., became a big rage. And we discovered that CPC networks, non-incentivized, direct buys, all of these became very, very important. Also, what came out is that if you do the right targeting and you do the right optimization, you could actually do better with your games, better with the money invested on those games. So these are some learnings we had 2 years back. But as of last year, things got even more complicated, right? We had exchanges, we had search coming up. The whole ecosystem is kind of getting bigger and bigger. It becomes more difficult for us as advertisers to make use of the few dollars that we have to exploit. And therefore, we said that we will look at the user acquisition story today and say that we'll drive installs at scale, we'll optimize for CPI and for LTV, and we all know what that means, right? It's a million-dollar question, LTV maximization, but how do I do that? So these are some things that Google tries and helps advertisers achieve, and that's what we follow up, see how we can do that. Drive new device targeting, drive blast campaigns on iOS because it can probably increase your rank, etc. So Google, and you must have seen this over the past few presentations today, Google has a whole gamut of offerings across different parts of your life cycle of building your app. You're building the game, we heard a bit today. We know how to grow your audience, we know how to monetize it. And I'll focus primarily on the blues and the yellows here, which is how to grow your audience. I want to leave you with 3 messages. When you build an app, think of 3 things. 1, be there when you launch it. Be optimized, because you want to make the best use of the money you're deploying. And third, be relevant, which means make sure that you drive re-engagement, because getting a user is not enough today. You need to get the right users, and sometimes when you get the right users, you need to re-engage with them to make sure they're more relevant to you, right? So 3 messages, and I'll try and pivot some products and offerings that we have around these 3 messages. 3 things: be there, be relevant, be optimized. First, what do you mean by be there? Nice 2 words. Well, it means that when you build a good active user base, you can use it through the products that we have in AdMob and in search. Anybody knows what AdMob is? Great. Of course, Vineet. Right. So yeah, so we have a few who know. AdMob is basically our display in-app inventory piece, which is basically a network. You can use that to promote your apps. And search, anybody knows what search is? Okay, few of us. Right. So we can use these things, these products that we have, these platforms that we have to promote your app. How do we do that? Search ads is a massive opportunity, and I'm sure not many of you would have used it yet, because we've kind of developed a lot of potential and capabilities in it. It basically says, can you see the screen? It's a little warped right now. I think it's a resolution. But basically, it says that when you look for something, and the way we've used search in the past is when we look for something on search, the intent is very, very clear, and therefore we used to surface websites on the World Wide Web, right? We would surface websites. Today, we surface apps as well. So if somebody were looking for a particular game, and a particular kind of game, let's say, not particularly your game, particular kind of game, today search will surface games that are most relevant to that query that has been entered. That's a huge opportunity. It's not like a banner flashing in my eye, right? It's extremely intent-driven. We think that the query is very, very relevant to the game category and a few games particularly in that category. And we surface that to say, hey, user, once you click there, go into the store and you can download straight away. Part 2 of that story, you have a game on your phone and you search for something like that game. What we can do is on Android, we can actually sense that this phone has this app. We can surface the app that's already installed, and we can lead you straight into the app. Now, what does it do? 2 things, right? User acquisition 1, and user retention 2. And that is the benefit of using search in the right way, right? It needs a little bit of technical integration, but the kind of stuff that you guys can do, I'm sure this is like cakewalk. The second one is the display network, right? The AdMob piece. We have about 900 million uniques that we have on our network. We have a ton of products, and Vineet's team can tell you more about what kind of products we have on the publisher partnership side. But on the ad side, if you want to look at users who are out there in AdMob across the network, you can go in there, you can target specific kinds of inventory pieces, and drive your message to make sure you can spur a user to download an ad. It could be like a banner, an interstitial, different types of interstitials, in-game play, etc. So there are a bunch of different ad units. And the one good thing about Google's products is we try and make things easy for advertisers. So we have something called a conversion optimizer, which says, hey, the advertiser, all he says is, these are my ad units. I want, say, $1 as a CPI. And I say that this is the amount of budget I have. What we do automatically is that our machine learning goes out there, places these ad units in such a way that your downloads are in the region of $1, right? So, and you can get scale. You don't have to sit all through the night to see who's clicking. You just have to set it up and forget about it. There are more opportunities. There are more opportunities that are coming out on Google. Now, we spoke about search. We spoke about AdMob. What about YouTube? What about Gmail? We've got products across these different platforms where you can promote your app and promote it at a cost that's most beneficial to you. So that's the first lesson we learned: be there. Be there on these for you to make sure that you can get to as many users as you can. The second piece is be optimized. You can, if you have a few million to throw away, it's fine. You don't have to worry about this. But then, fact of life, we all need some kind of optimization. So we have what we call tracking across different platforms, Android and iOS. On Android, of course, there's no code needed, automatically tracked. You know exactly the number of downloads that you've driven. It gets automatically reflected back onto AdWords front end. Voila, this is the amount I spent, clicks, conversions. It's all there on one screen, and that makes it life very, very simple. On iOS, though, you need to integrate a little bit of code, integrate the SDK, the API, and then boom, it just comes back onto your AdWords front end, and you can see it all in one screenshot. Android conversions, iOS conversions. That's what we can do. We touched upon this some time back. We have auto optimization tools, which is conversion optimizer, like I said. $1 CPI, 1 million downloads, here's the money, and SEO will just take care of it, right? The second thing is confirm clicks. The phone is a small little thing, right? I mean, it's not a click anymore, it's a tab, and it's a fat finger factor comes into play, etc. So a lot of accidental clicks that you guys know you got to pay money for. So what we do is we have something called confirm clicks, which means that if it's in the corner of the image that the click actually happened, we will ask for a reconfirmation. What it does is reduces your wastage and make sure that the most intentful clicks are the ones that lead that you pay for, right? So that's the important thing about that's a very positive thing about confirmed clicks. The other thing is that we don't show ads to people who already downloaded your app. Isn't that logical, right? You've got the guy to eat a McDonald's burger. Will you call him back in? You wouldn't, right? I mean, you have got this user to download the app. We can sense that this phone has the app. We can also sense that this phone had the app and uninstalled it. We can decide to show the ad or not. So that's a big thing, right? I mean, it seems so straightforward, but technology can make it happen. That's the other thing. The fourth one is like we have a template where it makes things very easy for you to set up a campaign. You don't need graphic designers to make an ad campaign, right? All you need is a banner. You can also make a banner in our display ad, within the AdWords interface. Just throw in a few things, and the rest of the ad just comes up automatically. What we do is we can pull out the reviews if it's positive. We can pull out the number of downloads if it's nice and healthy. We can make an ad format just there, just like that, right? And that can go out as something that people can click on. The next thing is measuring lifetime value of your app. This is a $1 million question, which I put on box there. If you're a beginner, please don't try this now. You can, if you're intermediate, you know a little bit about promoting your ad. You're getting a little deeper into your app and your analytics in your app. You can try this. You have third-party URLs. You have third-party tracking partners, which are integrated into AdWords, which means that if you have multiple sources of app download campaigns, you can actually tie in with a third party. The third party sends back information onto AdWords, and you'll have one screen that has all the ROI factors of your AdWords campaign. So that's fantastic, right? I mean, you don't have to worry about what if this data wasn't really right. I mean, was it really the clicks that Google drove? Well, if you have a third-party tracking company, he posts it back to us, and we can show it on one interface. The other way we can measure lifetime value is we can also measure and report in-app conversions. Now, you guys are in the business of making games. You have in-app payments in there. You can register those in-app payments instances on the Google AdWords front end, and you can report that right there, saying, oh, X number of downloads, Y number of payments made for a particular something that you were promoting, and Z number of in-app payments for another event. So all that will come into one interface, and it can show up there. And this, like I said, is for intermediate and advanced. I'm assuming many of you are. The third piece where you can actually measure is cross-network measurement between install with Google Analytics. Analytics is a big piece, it's a huge focus for us because we think that it is the future. Empowering advertisers with the right kind of tools to make sure that their advertising campaigns work is going through analytics. We can measure and report a lot of valuable insights of your campaigns, of your app in there. The third and the most important is be relevant. He said, be there, be optimized, and the third is be relevant. And this is a product that's super, super important for a lot of app developers today, is they've driven a truckload of downloads. But unfortunately, only the drivers using it, right? The rest of them are not using the app, are not doing enough with the app that you're actually promoting. So what we can do today is we can have re-engagement within the app. Somebody who's cleared level 3 of your game and he's just gone away because he's not able to clear level 4, you can probably identify those users separately and target a specific message only for that list of users. Now this is very important because we spoke about half-life some time back, right? And if that half-life needs to be improved, we need to do something other than just driving downloads. Maybe emails work, but then nothing like being in the app ecosystem, seeing an ad that seems very, very tailored to me, and I click it, right? So that's what we want to do with re-engagement. We think this is a very, very important tool for a lot of advertisers, especially games and commerce app developers. And it might be a little advanced, but it's easy to implement. Everything is through the front end. All you have to do is manage a list right, and then decide what messaging to target to whom. That's about it. So 3 messages, actually 4. Mobile's booming, Apac's the place to be there, be relevant, and be optimized. Thank you, people.